I kind of want to make this video myself anyway, but Screen Rant have sort of beat me to it. I was just trying to figure out the style and tone, but I'll just do what I'm usually do, which is just read articles and then give my take on everything, because that's what I love doing. Their question's a little bit different to mine, I think, and their headline's completely different as well. But No Time to Die. Spoilers, may I just add. So I'll let you guys have a couple of seconds to get off this video, like now. If you haven't seen the film or you don't know the ending of this movie. No Time to Die, killing off James Bond looks even better now as the 007 franchise faces its biggest shake-up in decades. Ooh. It has been over 3 years since No Time to Die was released, making Daniel Craig's final performance as British spy James Bond. This would also mark the final Bond movie to be made without MGM's new partner, as Amazon purchased MGM for $8.45 billion in mid-2021. Struck with several delays due to the pandemic-related issues, the long road to its eventual release was worth the wait. Craig's swan song was well received and led to one of the most shocking conclusions in the franchise history. James Bond didn't make it out alive. For the first time ever, James Bond was killed off, marking a drastic change for the franchise while fully concluding Craig's story. It also gave a clean slate to the next actor who will take up the role. For a while, that seemed to be the biggest change to the franchise's future. Then Amazon gained complete creative control of the franchise on February 20th, taking it away from the Broccoli family, who have held onto it for generations, for 60 years. Literally, since they handed it over to Amazon, they've had it from birth, right? Essentially. The birthright of Bond movies. The Amazon deal adds another layer to Bond's death in No Time to Die, and also gives the franchise new life as it heads towards uncharted territory. As Amazon ushers the franchise into a new era, the studio has been given a perfect setup through Craig's ending. Every previous movie had to deal with the baggage of movies that came before it. I mean, it didn't, but okay. But for the first time, James Bond is officially dead, with no reason to heavily tie future movies to the past anymore. I mean, none of Craig's... Like, Casino Royale wasn't tied to any Bond film. None of Craig's films were tied to non-Craig Bonds. So, I don't really know what they're getting at there. But anyway, Amazon can move the James Bond franchise forward and take the character in any number of directions. Not strictly true. A clean slate means it can build the world from the ground up, paving the way for fresh stories and potential spin-offs. Oh, don't you worry, we're going to be getting spin-offs. No actor is currently attached to the James Bond role. Rumours have surrounded such actors such as Theo James, Henry Cavill and Aaron Taylor-Johnson. But nothing has been confirmed as of yet. According to the Wall Street Journal, Barbara Broccoli had been resistant to spin-offs and potential TV shows. That's the whole reason there haven't been any. Amazon really wanted to do them. They allowed the 007 Road to Million, which wasn't good. Brian Cox apparently said that he signed up for it thinking it was the next Bond film. I don't know if that was just a joke of his, but I kind of believe it, because that show was... I watched a couple of episodes of it, and it was a reality game show set in the Bond world with no real risk. I mean, you can't endanger human lives, but in the Bond films, there's always this risk of world destruction, something like that. But there's never really that in that show, because you can't do that. You can't build that tension for viewers. When you know the families are... Everyone, the money's at home with the money, drinking champagne and whatnot. Would be... They didn't allow TV shows, fearing that the franchise would be treated as content part of the concern derives from fear of oversaturating the market. Previously, there were long gaps between their movie releases, leading to more fan intrigue and also fatigue. Like 4 or 5 years for a Bond film, you were starting to push it. Like back when Craig started, we had 2006, 2008, and 2012. 2012 was bearable if you were a young Bond fan or you played video games, because you got Bloodstone, which was an original story with Judi Dench, Craig. All the actors came in and did the voices for them. So in 2010, it sort of felt like a Bond film. Apparently, that's not connected to the Craig canon, but I would connect it given how Skyfall was not a direct sequel of Quantum. That time has passed. Now that Amazon is in charge, they'll have to balance their desire for content and the possibility of fatigue. Something other franchises like the MCU have dealt with. The MCU have dealt with fatigue in a very different way than what Bond has. Because I think with Bond's fatigue, it's you're tired and fatigued of waiting. I try and use that word again. But you are tired of waiting for the next film. And it can become a bit of a push. With Spectre, when Spectre came out and Craig said he was done, I was waiting around 3-4 months before Craig was like, yeah, I think it was a bit longer than that, actually, till he decided to do another one. Amazon should avoid bringing back actors and characters from No Time to Die. I kind of agree here. Despite some wanting Ana de Armas's Pamela to have her own James Bond spin-off, this is I was about to say, she's the only one that I'd be happy with if they were to go, let's bring her back and do a spin-off with her. Because I when I saw her in No Time to Die, in cinema, I was with my uncle, and I turned to him and I said, she needs her own movie. She was that strong of a character, wasn't it, for long, but that strong of a character. She's already leading her own spin-off in a different action franchise with the John Wick universe, Ballerina. Regardless, Amazon would be better off forging its own path, using new characters and or actors, keeping any previous actor in the same role, keeps the franchise in the past, preventing it from fully moving into the new era, which I agree with. A fresh round of new faces will rejuvenate the franchise, continuing the box office success it's used to. Without the boundaries of the previous films, the options for the future of the franchise are limitless. I agree with this. However, what I will say is I think we're going to be starting with Bond 1 again. This is Bond 26, they're calling it, right? Well, they were. My view take is it's now Bond 1. 2.1, right? We're in a new era now. Let's not do Bond 26. Let's go with Bond 2.1. And so on and so forth. Because I think the 25 film legacy, 60-year legacy needs to stay what it is. And that's up for us fans to decide. I'm sort of being the forefront here. I think we should just do 2.1. This isn't 26. Is it the 26th Bond film? No, because it's a reboot. More of a reboot than Craig's, because Craig was at least made by the same family. This is a full-on reboot. If you were to reboot the MCU, you wouldn't go, oh, this is MCU's Marvel Cinematic Universe film number 50. When in a film 49, would you? So, I don't know how many films MCU has, actually, at this point. With the new characters, Amazon opens up the potential for spin-offs or prequels following a young James Bond. Don't do that. Tom Holland wanted to do young Bond, and the Broccolis turned him down, giving us new adventures to experience. Without the boundaries of previous films, the options of the future of the franchise are limitless. Much-beloved characters like Q and M can get their time in the spotlight, while the franchise moves on to the next generation of actors who can play them. Whoever takes over the role of 007 deserves to be given the same clean slate that Amazon has inherited, allowing both parties to forge ahead on a new path. It's not that easy for the actor, because the issue is you have Daniel Craig, who, for some reason, the image isn't loading, but yeah, you have Daniel Craig, who is very tough shoes to fill. And Pierce Brosnan was tough shoes to fill for Craig, and Dalton was tough shoes for Brosnan, and Dalton had Roger Moore, and then Moore had Connery. Connery didn't really have any tough shoes to fill for Lazenby. Lazenby had some tough shoes to fill, but there are tough shoes to fill. You are the 7th actor to take on this role. There's one thing the 007 franchise shouldn't do after No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's Bond has to stand alone. While some aspects of the Bond films will always stay the same, there's one thing Amazon can never do. Kill James Bond. They can never do this. Because they're never giving up control. There's a reason James Bond's 007 hadn't died before. But after Craig's iteration broke the franchise's biggest rule, nobody can do it again. The shock of Bond sacrificing himself isn't something that can't be replicated. No matter how hard somebody may try, Amazon would be better off finding its own conclusions to shock audiences, truly setting it apart from the previous leadership. If the studio repeats 007's death to the less success, it would be a massive step backwards. Also, Bond's death made sense in No Time to Die. The way they developed that story, sort of like they kind of felt like they went in with the premise of killing Bond in that movie, and then built the story around, well, how are we going to make this meaningful, right? Then I think, just like everyone else, I think you look at the death and the impact that it had at the time, and the impact that it's still having on the franchise, and just in since the Broccolis gave up control, the impact's enormous. And you do it again. Craig's is still special. Your death, Bond, the death you give your Bond will not be. Because it's already been done. Bond Surviving's been done 24 times. 25 if you do Never Say Never Again. In movies. And that's not boring? No. Because we expect it. No Time to Die was very interesting. Because you went through that entire movie, your pulse was pounding because you knew the threat was imminent. And you kind of had that breathe moment where he picked up the toy and he was heading back, and you're thinking, where he's heading back, then he picks up the toy and you're thinking, oh, okay, he is going to, oh, wait, they've tricked me. I said to my uncle halfway through, I said, as much as I think they'll kill Bond, there's a part of me that, I went in that film expecting him to die. Just because of how I think everything had been shown and everything was done. I was like, I think he's going to die in this. But even when they'd stamped, they stamped their ticket for the death, I was still thinking he's going to get out of this. And then when you had the final fight between him and Safran, and I thought, okay, nah, he's gone. But anyway, with a franchise as popular as Bond, Amazon has to be careful with how it starts a new era in the wake of No Time to Die. An early misstep could spell down for the franchise. And with high expectations, with all eyes literally on them, may I point out, there'll be a lot riding on their first project. There are currently no official announcements, everything is speculation for the time being, including Amazon's potential spin-off James Bond movies or TV shows. However, the next step is obvious. Cast the next James Bond. The right casting will excite fans and the show that Amazon understands how to properly direct the franchise moving forward. The fact that Jeff Bezos, the day after he got, control, he asked the question, who do you want to be James Bond? I sat there and I thought, either he has no clue, and he probably doesn't deal with that kind of stuff, But he might be heavily involved with Bond because he might have a really big interest in it. Then he would probably some other projects Amazon has. Maybe he will be like, fans want, let's say he does a vote. And I think that's probably the best. You get your 3 biggest names, you do a massive vote, you can vote for the next Bond. And you put Aaron Taylor Johnson, Henry Cavill, or I don't know the other actor. He was mentioned in this video. But you put that. I've got this really bad cold, by the way. And you do that vote, and fans go, we want Cavill, right? Would he then go, the fans want Cavill, let's get Cavill. Let's sign him up for a 4-picture deal, or 5-picture deal, a film every 2 years, and he has to appear in 2 shows, right? His Bond's the reboot, but what we're going to do is on his 5th film, we're just going to end it, James Bond will return. And I always thought they should do this with Bond, but they never did, right? Kind of like at the end of Doctor Who, where the Doctor regenerates, they bring in the next Doctor for literally like 30 seconds. I always thought they should do the like, I think it was Inspector where he comes in ready for duty. Oh no, it was Skyfall, wasn't it? With pleasure, M. And I always thought that'd be a really cool scene to introduce your new actor, where that actor's story is done, right? Because that's just a bit of a teaser for a new film, right? You're bringing your new Bond. Maybe they should do. Maybe that should be their thing, because it was never done with the Broccolis. And then they could do it once, and it could fail dramatically. But they'd have to announce the actor, of course, before Cavill's final film, and there wouldn't be a going back on it. Where it'd be like, oh no, I don't. It'd be no, we've announced the new actor, we're doing it. And I think that'd be kind of an interesting way for them to do, because then every film. They you could literally like throw away, like they could put out stories that Henry Cavill or Cillian Murphy, if Cillian Murphy did a couple of films, is going to leave the role of Bond, make a massive story. Everyone's going to watch that film to see who the new Bond is, or you say the next Bond will be announced at the end of that film, and that's how you do it. I don't know if that would work, but it'd be interesting. But my question to you guys is No Time to Die a better film now that the Broccolis have sold the franchise? That's what I want to know. That's your question for today. Let me know in the comment section down below. Drop a like on the video. Smash that notification bell. Smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. And I'll see you on the next one. As always, stay cinematic. See ya.